This episode is brought to you by the Regional Air Quality Council. This summer, go wild for Front Range air quality and leave the car at home and walk, bike, or scoot shorter distances to reduce ground level ozone. Remember, to reduce that ground level ozone, you have to turn your car off and definitely don't idle with the AC on. Created from pollutants like car exhaust, ozone is the Front Range's biggest air quality issue and the leading cause of respiratory problems. Know when it matters most to take these simple steps for better air. Sign up for summer ozone text alerts by sending Better Air CO to 21000 or visit simplestepsbetterair.org. That's simplestepsbetterair.org. Today on CityCast Denver, Tuesday's primary election may be over, but the real drama has just begun. Where will the divided Democrats and Republicans go from here? Plus, we've got a new segment this week on the most dangerous animals to watch out for this summer. And of course, our wins and fails of the week. Today is Friday, June 28th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Welcome back to CityCast Denver, the show about the city where the state's Democratic Party delivered Maggiano's to GOP Chair Dave Williams' office as a consolation prize for losing his primary. Paul, quality trolling or embarrassing behavior? What did you think about this?
I mean, this was the lamest shit ever. This was like when I saw this, I laughed out loud. It's horrible. Have you seen the video, Justine?
Yes, I watched it like 10 times.
Why are we like this, Justine?
At first, I was like, it felt a little cringe, but after I watched it a few times, I'm like, all right.
Really?
I
couldn't even get through it. I was so embarrassed. I was like, the secondhand embarrassment was too much.
We have food for Dave Williams.
From where?
And this is from the Democratic Party to make him feel better for yesterday's losses.
Oh, okay.
So if you would just pass this on.
Well, he's not here, and he's not going to be here for probably
Well, maybe it'll still be warm when he comes back. So
a few days.
just leave it for him, and
If y'all want it.
he will want this.
It's like when someone scores a touchdown and then the dance is like just
Bad.
terrible. Like, oh,
I'm like,
ugh.
I like,
Wish you hadn't have done that.
it reminds me of The Simpsons when they're like, stop, he's already dead.
Also, so what if he got Maggiano's? Like, it's an Italian chain restaurant, right? Like, I'm kind of a mid-scale
4,000.
place.
Let me read the tweet.
Tell us.
Colorado Dems.
Yes.
Since the GOP spent nearly $4,000 on Maggiano's pasta in February, we thought we'd treat Dave Williams to his favorite meal and a get well soon card after his big loss. It didn't go well. I think Heidi Beadle was at this Maggiano's meal.
Oh, yeah?
I remember her saying something about it. But like, I guess if you're going to feed a lot of people, $4,000 is what it takes.
Exactly.
What was the point?
He
I don't
runs
know.
a political party.
Yeah,
you
I will-
host events.
I know.
Where lots of people
Justine,
eat.
that's not an outrageous budget for a meeting, right?
I will say, like, someone who has been a part of many political fundraisers and meetings, food budget counts for a lot. I'm
Yeah.
really good at keeping the budget down on those things personally. But yeah, like a $4,000
Meal's
dinner
not a big
budget.
deal.
I mean, depending on the size of meeting and all that, no. But, trolling Dave Williams is just...
I have more. They've just spent this
Keep
whole
going, Paul.
campaign
Go off,
season
Paul.
talking about how, the Republicans are like, all they want to do is own the libs. Like, and the Democrats are making this point about like,
people.
decorum and like, this is the right way to do things. We have to respect the system. And then this is how they celebrate their victory with this absolutely pathetic stunt.
This is a moment when you are silent and you just sit in your victory. That's what you do. That's what winners do.
Act like you've been there before.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of like a good example of someone who was really good at this. And Prince, I feel like, was someone that was really good at this. Someone that was good at like the silent troll by just existing. So, okay, well, the Democratic Party, still not cool.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I mean, Dave Williams, also not cool.
Oh, 100%. And we're going to get into that in a little bit later for sure. No, this is not about Dave Williams being cool either, because he's not cool at all. But
jeez,
I don't know.
This video and like the way she delivers it is without confidence, like without any
that's the hard
swagger
part.
too. Like
it does
if you're gonna
feel, it's like a little middle school, like where you go and like, it's like Ding Dong Ditch
Yes.
or like,
they should have done a singing telegram, like a professional.
oh yeah,
To really deliver it and sing like a song.
send a performer.
Yes.
Mhm.
See, next time you're going to do this, Dems, call us up. I think we have some better.
I mean, I'm
Nobody consulted me on the trolling
was
because
gonna
I feel
say,
like I could have really stepped it up.
I
Political
believe that you would
consultant
have.
here.
I believe that you would have. What would your move have been?
Oh gosh.
You just
I have a long Dave Williams history too, from like fighting him on anti-abortion bills in the Capitol for a long time. But I'd have to mull it over. I would have brought it a little more over the top so it could really own. But we do have the unfortunate label of being the dorks, and we continue to carry on the dorky
Absolutely.
flag.
Well, nice try, Colorado.
sometimes being a dork can be so endearing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. There's layers.
This time,
There's layers. But no, it didn't work. It didn't work. Cringe.
I want to hear
The
a
cringe
Dave
factor.
Williams story from back in the day. What he used to be like before he was the state party chair for the Republicans.
He's always been terrible. So there was like lots of stuff that we would call him out on from like his days before the legislature, just being like super anti-LGBTQ, discriminatory in his office, like all kinds of like, there was some stuff with like his father-in-law and a sexual harassment scandal, like tons of stuff. So we didn't like him because then he was in there being like the super anti-abortion dude. But yeah, I always remember one time we were at the Capitol and we were there till like 1 a.m, like debating these horrible anti-abortion bills that he was leading on. And he would like always like laugh at us and give us dirty looks in the hallway. And one time he was coming back from the dinner break and he was like smirking at us and he was like running up the steps and he missed a step and he fell. And like all of the like reproductive rights, like people were out there, we like just laughed at him. And he like got up so embarrassed and he had to go back in. So that's my favorite Dave Williams story.
That's
what you
That's
get.
the kind of petty I live for.
Yes.
That's the kind of petty. Okay, well, it's Friday. We're in the 5280 Magazine studios in beautiful downtown Denver. Producer Paul Karolyi is here. You have heard his voice. Hi,
Hey,
Paul.
Bree. Hey.
And of course, you have heard her voice as well. Great returning guest. She's the only state politics and green chili correspondent in the state of Colorado, Justine Sandoval. Hi.
Hello.
So, well, okay, you know what? Before we get into it, really quickly, we have a call to action.
Yes.
So, inspired by Jason Sheehan's call for Biker Jim to be put on the Mount Rushmore of Colorado culinary greats, we thought, what if there was a culinary Mount Rushmore for Colorado? Who would be on it? Give us a call on the Culinary Icons hotline at 720-500-5418 and let us know who we should put on this mountain, this fictional space where we want to honor people that have impacted the world of food here in Denver.
Are we going to do Colorado or just
I guess
Denver?
specifically Denver.
I feel like we should do Denver.
Denver, yes, because there's so many people.
Once you get to Colorado, I don't even know if I'm the person to pick that. Denver stuff, I feel confident about who I'm going to bring.
Fair. So the Denver Culinary Mount Rushmore.
Justine, do you have a thought? Who jumps to mind?
My first thought is Grandma Stella Cordova
Thank you.
Yes.
from
That was
Chevy's.
first on my
She's
list
on
too.
my short list. Yep.
Absolutely.
I remember when she passed, I was in DC for my like first time summer semester in college. And like I got so many text messages. It was like a big thing, like, oh my God, Chevy. So yeah. She's totally first of
her
mine.
legacy cannot be denied. It has made an impact. Also, one of the best culinary drama family stories too. It adds to the lore of Denver. So, well, if you have any ideas for us on the Denver culinary icons, give us a call again, 720-500-5418. Okay, top story. We're still talking about the primaries. They are over, but the conversation is not. You know what? I just want to come out of the gate with something spicy.
Hell yes.
It's a tweet. It's from Tiffany Caudill, a former candidate for Denver City Council who ran against Kevin Flynn for Council District 2 and lost. She's very much a prominent part, I think, of the progressive left here, progressive voices here in Denver. And less than 30 minutes after the first results came in on election night, Tiffany tweeted, quote, "Man, Denver really loves genocide." Paul, what did you make of this statement?
I mean, it's a very strong statement.
Yeah. Yes.
It was a little bit shocking. She does have a history of saying, some out there stuff, progressive, far left stuff. I first met Tiffany. I don't know if I've ever shared this, but I remember back in 2017, she was running Tay Anderson, then Tay Anderson's first campaign for school board. And she was the person I interacted with when I was setting up an interview to profile him.
She's been at it for a while.
Very lovely person to work with. I always had a really good impression of her. But
I think this also
just
could
a young mom.
Speak a little to Twitter versus reality.
Well, yeah. I mean, the political discourse right now, you know, we're sending each other Maggianos. We're saying people love genocide. Like, is this how the system's supposed to work? Is this how we're supposed to get anything done? I don't know. In terms of what she's actually saying, though, it is kind of interesting, I think. Like, that does get to a deeper issue. Because to me, it seems like she's responding to the high-profile losses in these two House races, Elizabeth Epps and Tim Hernandez, you know, friend of the show, many-time guest, I hope, again, in the future. Because they both were very vocal in solidarity with the Palestinian people over the last few months as the Israeli army has been assaulting Gaza. And so it seems like she's like, all these people in Denver voted for their opponents, so they must love genocide, which, I don't know. Justine, what do you make of this?
What did you make of that?
Well, Tiffany is a dear friend of mine. And I think that exactly what Paul is saying, it's coming from the sentiment of the people that don't support these two candidates, obviously are on the other side of this issue. But I think there's a lot more to what happened there. And it does not just come down to that particular issue. I think a lot, like, when you look at the two candidates, one thing I heard a lot on election night between Epps and Hernandez was like the two bomb throwers are getting, sent out of the House. When you really look at how it played out, and you can even see the numbers, Elizabeth Epps, I think, was up against a lot more than just like being a bomb thrower. It was like her constituents had like turned on her a lot. A lot of her colleagues didn't think that she could work well. And so she didn't get a lot of that support. There was also the lawsuit and all of these other things. Whereas like Tim Hernandez went in controversial, but he actually did a really good job working with his colleagues. I'm so glad you're making this point.
Yeah, this is an important
these are
distinction.
not the same. To me, they were not the same candidates.
No, and they both had the same position when it came to Palestine, but when it came to actually working in the legislature, and you can tell by how many endorsements Tim got from his colleagues versus what Epps got from hers. And it turned out, from everyone I've heard that worked with him said, that he actually really stepped up and he was
I think he grew as a person right before our eyes.
Yeah, and a lot of his colleagues really backed him. And you can even see in the numbers of like how much he lost his race by versus
which was a couple hundred votes versus a couple thousand votes. And in a primary like this, that is a huge difference.
Yeah.
Right.
And the big money and the mailers that lumped them both together that went out from, more of these moderate organizations, I think didn't help Tim in the end. But I think it's unfair to say that they were both like controversial during their time in the legislature.
Yeah, he was very pragmatic, I thought.
I totally agree. I'm so glad you made this distinction because I was frustrated by actually the coverage of these races. They kept getting lumped together. Yes, like you said, Paul, they are both very vocally pro support of the Palestinian people. That is undeniable. We know that about them. And I think that's partially what this tweet is about for sure. But I also see this as like, can we make some distinctions here? They're different people. They come from the same side of the party, but they're doing different things and they're operating in different ways. And I found that, honestly, in the coverage of it by some of our colleagues to be unfair to Tim especially, because also I saw this, like I'm in his district, so I saw the mailer disparity, right? Yeah. I got at least nine mailers. I'm sure I threw a couple away from Cecilia and I only got 3 from Tim. But like you said, Tim's was just literally a list of everyone that had endorsed him and like, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And hers was more of the traditional attacks on, he's a sitting person. She is not in the legislature right now. So I just don't feel like there was a lot of room for Tim to be able to show people what he really was. And it's a primary. Yeah. It's a hard time to get. People maybe are meeting him for the first time. They're introduced to him for the first time because he wasn't elected by the people last time. I made this point earlier this week. But like, I was very frustrated by that. But to go back to this conversation about Denver really loves genocide, to me, part of this was just like, this is Twitter. It's Twitter. This is kind of how Twitter functions. I don't know. I mean, maybe she would say this in real life to someone's face. I don't know. But like, it's the part that gets.
I hope not. I don't want anyone. I'm
just saying.
If I'm voting for Camacho and someone's like, "Well, clearly you support genocide," I'm walking away from that conversation.
Yeah, I agree. And maybe I just can't speak for her. I don't know. But this is just like I see Twitter happening. Twitter, sort of Twitter brain.
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Election night, emotional tweeting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Been
I
there.
do. I want to talk about the mailers and the disparity of the money, because I do think that she's onto something here. Like there is a point to be made about the issue of Gaza and how it's playing out in our politics, because I don't think that like the average everyday voter is going to make their choice based on that. So obviously some people are. That's very important to some people. But here in Denver, like the kitchen table issues are most important. You know, cost of living, cost of rent. You know, these are the two candidates who co-sponsored the assault weapons ban that made it further than it's ever made it in the legislature. But where she has a point is the funders, the backers, the big money donors. For a lot of these people,
That's a good point,
this
Paul.
issue is crucial. And we heard this from Tim after he spoke out in the wake of the October 7th attack. We heard that he was essentially threatened about having big money donors that are going to come into his race and spend big against him. We heard from him that that's what the House Majority Leader told him was going to happen because of what he said. And it happened.
That's
And he
exactly
lost.
what happened. Yeah. And I think Senator Julie Gonzalez was talking a little bit about this on Twitter as well earlier this week, that she was watching that happen and was maybe feeling like people were not seeing that directly. Because I mean, honestly, I didn't know a lot about how campaign mailers got paid for and all these things until I got more invested in politics.
Yeah.
As a voter, I didn't think about it that way. Also, just looking at the mailers, none of them say anything about Palestine. The mailers are all about kitchen table issues. So that's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
about it from. But the perspective of how are those mailers getting into people's mailboxes, Paul? You're right. Big money made that happen.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe is the bigger story.
Well, if you're listening to CityCast Denver, you knew all about it. So
yeah.
I recommend continuing to do that.
Yes. Yeah. I was trying to find an equally spicy tweet from the right, but I didn't have any luck. However, I think the ideological divide within the Colorado GOP is equally stark here. The Colorado Sun reported that 14 of the 18 GOP-endorsed Republican candidates lost their primaries. And the fact that the party decided to endorse people at all was a contentious issue. The GOP endorsed Boebert, of course, and she came out top of her six-way race. But Dave Williams also was endorsed by the GOP, AK himself, and he lost miserably. Justine, what is going on in your eyes when it comes to the GOP? That's the big giant.
Bree, I
question.
can't wait to hear what you got to say about this. Justine.
You know, it's just like chaos to me. And I don't know where the Republican, it's obvious that the powers that be are going to stick with like the mega Trump train for sure. But you have a lot of discontent with Republicans in Colorado who don't want this mega show anymore, and they want like pragmatic legislators that are going to get things done. You know, Boebert moving districts because she knew she wasn't going to win in 3, I think, you know, had a lot to do with people on the West Slope saying, hey, we need somebody who can work well with the federal government. So she moved another side where there's more of that mega ideology that's going to boost her to back into Congress. So, you know, I think that there's obviously fractures within the party and that it's hard to tell where it's going to go, because come November, we're going to see if like Colorado Republicans, there's enough of them that are going to move away from like the Dave Williams and stuff. And you kind of see it with like the way things turned out in his race. But I don't know. Like I really cannot tell what's going to happen with the Republican Party because there's really no like solid leadership. Not everybody is on board with, you know, following the party and what they're doing exactly. And I think there's a lot more like cohesiveness within the Democratic Party that can help them be more successful, but it's such a mess.
Do you really think so? There's more cohesiveness on the Democratic Party?
I think that we have a better, well-oiled machine because, you know, even though, you know, we don't always get along or agree on things, I think that we have more of a path forward and more like the idea is to beat Trump, right? And then you have the Republicans who don't like are all on board with Trump and all are like split on different, you know, ideologies within the party. And so I think that that makes it easier for the Democrats.
Interesting. What do you think, Paul?
I mean, I don't know. I would love to, you know, try to put myself in the shoes of one of these Republicans and maybe think about like, because that's what they're looking at now. It's like clearly Dave Williams is not the guy, so someone else has got to come forward with a vision.
That's what I'm curious about too. Is if he does get removed, and there is a new GOP chair. who is this person? How will they steer it?
Well, you had Christy Burton Brown before, who they like totally ran off because she also like oversaw horrible losses for the GOP. So they weren't agreeing with her. And then you bring in another like controversial figure. And yeah, there's no like cohesiveness.
The controversy's not working.
I mean, I said this earlier in the week, but I think this Gabe Evans guy who's going to be running in CD8 against Yadira Caraveo, who got both the Koch brothers support and Trump's support.
Gabe Evans did, yeah.
Seems like he might have something figured out. You know, I haven't still not looked into that. I'd love to talk to him. Maybe that's a race that we want to dig deep in before November. Is, you know, talk to Caraveo and Evans, see what's happening there. But I mean, obviously, we should talk about Boebert. Boebert's got something figured out.
Tremendously. That race was nobody else's race but hers.
She just absolutely owned them. And I haven't talked about this throughout this project, but she has this new campaign manager who she brought in after she almost lost to Frisch. His name is Drew Sexton. And throughout all my dealings with him, all the conversations we've had around our project, Lauren Boebert Can't Lose, which you should still go back and listen to if you want to understand why this happened.
How we got here, yeah.
This guy is incredibly sharp.
Yeah.
He understands politics. He understands the current political movement. If I was the Colorado GOP, you know, he's not from Colorado, he's from Arizona, but maybe that's a guy you want to have step up. You know, he seems to have his finger on the pulse.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we have said too, is they just don't have great strategists. So you can find someone who is politically savvy to come in and change the direction, change the narrative of the GOP and start to bring people in. So smart of Boebert to find somebody who
he was very amenable to us having conversations. I think that was interesting to me was he was not confrontational in any way. He was just like, let me just try to figure out what you guys are about and like we'll discuss it.
That's interesting because I've heard a lot of people saying that Boebert now is more open to the media and doing
100%.
I mean, we went to her house.
That's all this guy.
And she's been so much easier to contact and breaking down that like media is the enemy wall. Yeah. And I think that's been helpful to her. So that makes sense that this person is.
Yeah. I mean, just reorienting her posture and letting her be her confident self, I think was a huge change.
Yeah.
And that's how she ran. She ran from a place of strength. She consolidated the national party and she gave the people of CD4 what they wanted, this red meat, this Christian nationalism, you know, bring the kingdom of God to Colorado. That's how she won. Did you see the photos from her election party, Justine? Did you see this like outfit, the gold shoes?
Yeah, the Trump shoes. And did she have a hat on? Yeah, she had her hat on.
She has a style. She has a style and she owns it. And she's very confident in it. And it works for her. It's very smart. It's very smart.
I think it works for my uncle-in-law.
I think it works for a lot of people. I mean, I don't know. I felt like I was wrestling with this the whole time we were doing that series. Was just like this constant conversation. I think, Justine, you're very familiar with it too, is how we present ourselves as women in the world. And we're told many different things about how we should look and how we should act and what we should do. And she has hers down to a science and it works. And if you want to think that it's all about politics and not about looks, you're crazy.
Yeah.
She has it. She's figured it out. And we saw her in person. She looks like that in real life.
She does. I've seen her too.
It's like, I mean, I don't want to just distill it down to that. I'm just saying it's a component of this conversation.
I mean, even she knows it too. Like
she got her gold shoes out.
She told us in our interview, which aired on our spinoff show, that she's had some work done on her body.
And I was like,
you know, to the surprise of no one, I think.
But also, I think that's also this like the feminist stuff that she doesn't like to align herself with. That is directly from this ability for us to talk about what we do now to ourselves is part of this feminist body acceptance, body positivity, however you want to look at it. And that's like, I'm maybe not characterizing it correctly, but allowing ourselves to be free to talk about ourselves how we want to. And she has that.
Well, and I agree with nothing that Boebert stands for politically.
Same.
But I find myself constantly defending her as a woman and as a feminist, even though she would probably die before calling herself a feminist.
Well,
did she? I don't know.
She kind of danced around it.
She did dance around it like, well, I don't know. I don't know if they'd have me, but, and I was just, because I was kind of saying like, some of the stuff that you're able to do is because of feminism. Like, let's be realistic. You don't run for office because feminism didn't happen. Like, women weren't running for office.
Yeah.
I think about the Pat Schroeder conversation and like, how could you possibly be a mom and be a politician at the same time? This is insane.
Yeah.
And she was like, actually, watch me do it. And then
she was like, I have a brain and I have a uterus, but I also have a brain.
yeah, like, and I think Boebert benefits from those things, but also.
Well, that touches on the other thing that maybe should be the future of their party is because something else she emphasized in our conversation was that the GOP is the party of inclusivity.
Right.
Which I think for liberals sounds like, what the hell are you talking about? That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
No.
But I can see how it is consistent with the rest of their ideology. Like there's a lot of people in the party that say hateful things and do hateful things and work on hateful legislation. But I think some of them, I think Boebert even maybe in her darkest moments might even admit that the way the country is changing, it's a better strategic move to drop this anti-gay, anti-trans bullshit and actually be the party of inclusivity and giving people the personal freedom. That is consistent with their ideology. And we saw that hurt Dave Williams so hard. I mean, what did he get banged on the worst in his race was this anti-gay
for going out
Westboro
on
Baptist Church
going out on this
email.
limb that nobody supported him on.
Yeah.
And he's the representation of the party, I should say, in the state. And he just doubled down. And it was like, this is a suicide mission, bro. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's not a popular place to come from anymore. And even the GOP is starting to look at their stance on birth control and IVF and these other things.
I'm thinking about the Don Corums of the world always come to mind. A Republican man who has an IUD pin on his jacket.
Yeah.
Like, this is real.
If they really switched over to like being more inclusive in that way, I think it would help the GOP in Colorado so much.
Especially this place where so many of us are registered independents.
So many unaffiliates
right?
would be like, oh, look at them turning over a new leaf. See, you're all painting them as horrible extremists, but it would bring them into more of the moderate circle, and Coloradans would eat it up. And I really think so. So I shouldn't be giving that advice on, but it really
true.
makes sense, because
Coloradans want to talk about taxes
Yes.
and housing costs.
Yeah. They don't want people regulating people's bodies or their bedrooms. And that's what it comes down to. We're Colorado. We're a different group of people here.
Well, we're going to leave it there. But when we come back, we're going to talk about Colorado's most dangerous animals. This episode is brought to you by the Coldwell Banker Denver Century Ride. Cycle the city this year with the Coldwell Banker Denver Century Ride in partnership with CityCast Denver. For 13 years, this event has been Denver's ultimate urban cycling tour. You can discover the Metro's most bikeable streets, trails, lanes, and parks. The Century Ride is on Saturday, September 28th, and starts and finishes at the shops at Northfield. Participants can choose to ride 25, 50, 85, or 100-mile courses. The courses will be supported with aid stations, police details, and bike mechanics the whole way. This ride benefits Bicycle Colorado, the state's leading cycling advocacy organization. For more information, check out denvercenturyride.com. Now through July 15th, get 10% off your registration. Again, that's denvercenturyride.com. This episode is brought to you by Denver Health. Heading to Winter Park this summer? Don't forget, Denver Health's Winter Park Medical Center is right there for you at the base of the resort. Whether it's a routine checkup, a pulled muscle from hiking, or even altitude sickness, Denver Health is here for you. Denver Health offers primary care, urgent care, sports medicine, emergency services, and so much more. The Winter Park Medical Center serves the community with men's and women's wellness visits, pediatric care, prenatal care, sick visits, and radiology services. The location is optimal for connecting with visitors and locals all around the Grand County area. From wellness exams and immunizations to managing chronic illness, Denver Health has you covered. Denver Health's Winter Park Medical Center is open all year long to ensure you're always taken care of. For more information, visit denverhealth.org/winterpark. That's denverhealth.org/winterpark. And we're back. Enough politics. We're talking about animals. I'm just gonna hand this over to Paul because this is a Paul and Olivia project that I feel you both are better equipped to handle. Justine, you are a camping outdoorsy person. Please feel free to jump in, but I am going to hand this off.
Well, Producer Olivia Jewell Love is joining us for this segment.
Hello.
Welcome, Olivia.
Hello, everybody.
And I thought it was finally time to do this because we've been talking about it for so long. And then this news came up. The Coloradoan reported earlier this week that there have been 3 elk attacks this year,
Yes.
which kind of rocked my world. I don't normally worry about elk attacking me, but now maybe I
No.
should. And Olivia, you've had this top 5 list of scary animals, dangerous animals
Yeah.
in Colorado.
The top three have remained the same. The bottom 2 kind of waver. They change. The top 3, this news has solidified that for sure.
Interesting.
But the bottom 2 are constantly changing. I had a conversation last night with my partner. He gave me some information that made me waver a little bit in the bottom 2. So they were changing a little bit, but yeah, this is maybe a hot take on some of this, but I stand by this list.
let's get
list.
started.
Let's do it. Let's start counting them down from 5 down to 1. Okay.
Okay, I'll give you 5, and it's a hybrid because things changed on the list. So
Okay.
so 5 is gonna go out to it's gonna go to possums and goose.
All right.
Possums and
Possums/goose.
gooses.
Geese.
Geese.
Geese definitely scary. I
Yeah,
told
I don't
the
know
story
if
about a goose
Oh, I've
attack
had-
on my
yeah.
bike a few weeks
yeah.
ago.
If you've ever been chased by a goose,
It's not fun.
scary.
Didn't like
They'll
it.
bite you too.
Yeah.
They're mean. And possums, scary.
I've never
Why?
encountered one.
The vibes off. Their eyes red. They hiss at you if you're like even in their vicinity, and they have creepy feet with little
Creepy feet.
Their feet are mad creepy, and their tails are naked. Though that's very creepy too.
Justine,
Like
you ever
rat-like.
had a run-in with a possum?
I did not know we had possum in Colorado, and now I'm terrified because
Wait, do we not?
I see all
Is
these
this
videos in
misinformation?
Texas because it's a big thing there,
Oh,
and
I
people
guess
are
I
like,
should have fact checked this.
"Oh, sorry." I'm like, I just see the Texas videos with like the hissing possum, and
Yes.
the girls like loves carrying it out of their chimney or whatever, and I'm like, "Oh my god."
Okay.
I'm
There
also
are.
terrified of raccoons.
I was
so
just
they're
going to
like
say,
the
this feels
same.
like raccoonish to
No,
me.
they're worse.
Because those I see in the city for sure.
Oh yeah.
They're worse than raccoons, in my opinion.
Really?
They're just so protective of their babies, which most
Oh,
animals are.
Sure.
But they are just. I've watched them just hiss at my dog before back in Kansas City, and just be so rude and mean. And the vibes are just bad, and they're so small, and they're just rude. They look like they would be cute, and they're not. And
just
it's
know
about
they-
expectations a little bit.
they have diseases too, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm not going to trust the AI overview from Google that much, but it says that possums were introduced to Colorado's Eastern Plains in the early 1900s.
Well,
So-
thanks
Wow.
a lot, whoever did
Wow.
that.
That
Probably
makes sense.
Texas.
whoever
Good job.
The real
Yeah.
reporter or journalist or researcher who found that information
Let me
that
know.
Google AI then scraped and didn't give credit to.
I know.
Thank you to
Yes.
that person.
Thanks to
I
whoever.
hate that they're doing that now.
I do too.
Oh, me too.
I'm
I'd like to
sorry.
put Google AI on the list of most dangerous
Yeah,
animals.
canceled.
Yep.
Canceled. Yeah. So that goes out to them.
Okay,
They're-
goose and possums.
Yeah, they're not going to kill you probably, but they are going to make your life scary.
Okay. All right. Number
all right.
4.
Number 4, mountain lion.
100%.
Okay,
agree.
this one was not on my list before because I was misinformed. I thought that mountain lions and bobcats were the same thing, and I've seen bobcats in the Midwest, and I thought essentially they were just big kitties
Mhm.
because they kind of are.
But a
Mountain lion
lions.
is different, and I found that out last night because my boyfriend was showing me videos of them attacking
of
people.
mountain lion attacks.
Yeah, of
Oh,
them
boy.
like standing people down and hissing, and like if you've ever like trimmed your cat's toenails, it's like similar to that, but like they could kill you.
Okay.
So
How do they come after you?
they like
What do
they'll,
I
like,
watch out
they'll
for?
like stance up and like and they'll like hiss and they'll like go like lunge at you, they'll like buck at you and then they like will like chase you. They're not like you can't just like throw. I've seen the videos of people like throwing rocks and stuff
To
at them
scare
to
'em.
try to get them away. They're not scared.
You have to fight them.
Yeah, they're not scared.
Remember, there was that story about that guy, that
Yes.
jogger that
Yeah,
fought the
that like
mountain
to
lion.
Yes.
overpowered
He
the
strangled it.
Collins?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
and that's in my
badass.
head. Like
That's
that's the only
insane.
animal I'm really afraid of is because they stalk you too.
They will follow you.
They will follow you and stalk you on the trail. And this. So in my head, I'm like, I just got to fight this thing. So I channel that guy's energy in my head all the time. I'm like, I'll choke it out like that guy.
Yes. Well, the reason it's further down on my list is because it is a cat and I'm a cat mom. And so there's a part of me that's like, you
Not
know,
all cats.
you would know that like I have kitties and you'd be like, oh,
Maybe you can convince it to love you.
I'd have my my Snow White moment and be like, come here. And then it would just like run up.
Cats do sometimes warm up to you.
I just have
But
this
they'll warm up
effect.
to you and then they'll attack you.
No,
That's the
I don't.
thing about
well, I don't
cats,
know.
too.
You don't know that. We don't know.
Depends
that.
on the cat.
They're the
We-
most erratic beings. I don't
Yes.
know.
Well, we'll
Terrifying.
see. So that's
All
why
right,
it's
let's go to
further
number
down.
three.
Wait,
Let's go to
but I
number
just want to
three.
make one clarification because mountain lion, I feel like, is a colloquial term that
Oh,
we use.
okay.
And I
What's
was
it?
looking at the National Wildlife Federation.
Oh.
They are also known as cougars, pumas, and panthers. So
Pumas,
just-
panthers.
Puma and a panther
No,
is also a
that's-
mountain
according
lion?
No.
to the National Wildlife
Those are jungle
Federation,
cats. Those are
the
jungle.
mountain lion, also known as
Fake
the
news.
cougar,
Fake.
I'm
pig.
not buying it.
All
I'm not
right.
either.
Sorry, National Wildlife
Panther.
Federation. You're
There's
not
no
as good as
panthers in-
I skipped over the AI.
There's not a panther in Colorado. I
Let's
don't
go to
believe
number
that.
three.
Okay.
Let's go to number three.
Number three, the black bear.
Okay.
This is
For
gonna
sure.
this is gonna ruffle some feathers that it's not number one.
You think?
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people are afraid of bears.
Yeah, but it's not number one. It's number three on my list
Why?
because I think there's so many techniques to getting rid of a bear. Like, you know, they tell you like, get big, yell at it, scream at it. Like, and also, I mean, I've never seen a bear. So that's probably why it's lower on my list because I've never seen one. But also, I feel like a bear, you could kind of like toss it a hot dog or something and it would probably be like, thanks. And like go after the hot dog.
Maybe someone should try delivering Maggianos to a bear.
I think that you could like, if you did all the techniques they tell you, like get big or like, isn't it brown bears versus black bears? One of them you like play dead and one of them you do the opposite. So it's like, you better know which it is.
More reasons to not go camping. This is all I'm hearing.
Well, maybe, but more reasons to take hot dogs camping so you can like toss them to the bears if you need to.
I remember if it's black, fight back. If it's
Okay.
brown, lay down. And if it's a polar bear, you're dead or something.
Okay, well, we have black bears here. So we have black
Perfect,
bears here.
Justine.
So you have
Perfect.
to fight back. So you get big and you're like, rah, and you like throw stuff at it. So I feel like that's a pretty good chance of you being able to be okay. Especially I'm tall. I'm like 6 foot. I'm fine.
Can you say that rhyme again, Justine? Because that's actually helpful.
Yeah, that's
for me.
really
I
I
wanna
think,
helpful.
hear
yeah,
that.
if it's black, fight back or like intimidate it. If it's brown, lay down and play dead. And I forget the polar bear saying, but it's basically you're dead and you can't do anything because it's going to murder you.
Global warming's going to take care of them anyway. So
That's a different way we're fighting back. All right,
Take
number
that,
two.
nature.
number
Let's go
two,
to number two.
Number two, elk.
Elk. Okay.
Elk.
Elk seem to deserve their spot. Why are elk scary though?
They, without remorse, will gore you. They will gore you. They will stab you with their antlers. No remorse. They charge people every year. I used to report up in Evergreen.
Mhm.
Every year, people get too close to them, try to take pictures of them during rutting season, during baby season,
Mhm.
and they will chase you. They will chase you and scare you and
Because they're
try
trying to meet other elk. And
Yeah, it's hot girl
ruining-
elk season,
you're ruining their
and
mac.
you are getting in their business and getting near their babies, and they will chase you and they will stab you. They will poke holes in your car with their antlers.
Really?
Yes, if that's not the most metal thing you've ever heard, like that's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, they're up there. I see them. There's this area in Evergreen. I mean, actually, like everywhere in Evergreen, because there's like a huge resident herd. But they'll just be like a herd of them just chilling, hanging out, eating grass, eating apps. And I will not. I like would never get out of my car because people would like get out of their cars to like take pictures. I'd like roll my window up and like take a picture through my window because I'm like scared. I don't want to piss them off. I'm scared if I look at them wrong. I don't want that to happen.
Did you say apps like appetizers?
Yeah. Yeah. You know.
Justine, you like elk? You scared of elk? How do you feel about elk?
I'm not as afraid, but I know to keep my distance.
should
So
be
I've never
scared.
had.
You should be.
Well, actually, I'm not. I am respectful of them
Yes.
because I know what they can do. So I stay away. Just like buffalo and Yellowstone, people still
I know.
Yeah.
walk
Yes.
up to them.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's like
They
it's a
also-
wild animal.
They hate your dogs too, by the way.
Yes. Oh my God.
Keep
Put
your-
your dog on a leash.
Put it on a leash. Oh my God. They do not care about your little dog. They will stomp it. They will.
Oh, goodness.
They will.
All right, that's why they're number 2. But now
brings me to number one, moose.
I knew it.
Moose. Do not mess with a moose because guess what? They hate people. They have a vengeance for people. They remember
Like
and they don't like you. And they're not like gonna befriend you like, I don't know, like a pig or something. They're not gonna like have a like sweet personality. No, they hate you. And they hate your dog. And they will, like, even more than an elk, they will stomp your dog. They will stomp you.
I saw a video of a moose beating up a bear.
They will beat up. They will beat
it
up
was like
everything.
stomping the bear, and the bear was running from it.
They are huge. Everything's afraid of them.
I when I was visiting some family in Canada a few years ago, you know how moose is like a national animal of Canada. I gaslit them so bad for days and days.
No.
I just kept insisting that mooses were kind of small and like not that bad, not that scary. They were like, no, mooses are really big.
They're giant. I saw one on my first day of my first job when I moved out here. I saw one when I was up in the foothills.
Cool.
And I was luckily in someone's car and we kind of pulled up a respectful distance and I was like, oh my God, that thing is huge. And then that's when everyone told me like, yeah, that thing will chase you. They can run really fast and they like actually hate you and they will just like chase you down. You think you've like made it. They'll keep chasing you and then they'll just stomp you to bits and your dog.
Well, do you have any advice for a moose attack?
I don't know that there's anything you can do.
You're effed.
Maybe.
I will say it again. Just don't go camping.
I've never read anything. I think you have to remain extremely still. I think you have to like not move and not catch their eye.
That always just seems like asking for it.
Well, on the trail, that's the advice. If you come into contact with them on a trail, stop moving.
I think you don't move and you don't catch their eye.
Get out of their sight and just wait till it's past.
Yeah.
Wow.
My cousin had that happen not long
so
ago.
mean.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, she said they had to stop and sit there for a good hour
Yeah.
till it moved along and just not move. And they just laid on the ground.
Especially if they have babies, then they're like extra mean. So moose, number one.
Well, listeners, let us know what you think. What are your scariest animals that you've ever encountered in Colorado? I'd love to hear a story about, a victory over a bear or a moose. That would be fun.
Did you fight a moose and
out
win?
a panther?
Did you fight a moose and win?
Lion?
Call in, leave us a voicemail, send us a text, 720-500-5418. Again, that's 720-500-5418. Let's call that a segment. Maybe we'll do more top 5 lists at some point.
That was so funny, Olivia.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, our Rocky Mountain highs and lows, wins and fails of the week. This episode is brought to you by Pine Melon, the farmer's market delivered. Miss the farmer's market this weekend? Don't fret. Pine Melon has got you covered, delivering Colorado's freshest local produce straight to your doorstep. Pine Melon is a next-generation grocery delivery app that partners with over 200 local farmers, ranchers, and producers in Colorado. With a mission to transform Denver's food system, empower local makers, and promote community well-being, they make supporting local both easy and rewarding. Enjoy high-quality meats, eggs, and dairy from small local farms, as well as a wide variety of pantry staples, all delivered straight to you. The best part? Pine Melon offers same-day delivery to Denver and Boulder within a 2-hour window. No subscription necessary. Support local today and use promo code CityCastDenver for $75 off your first delivery at pinemelon.com. Enjoy the best of the farmers market, even when you can't make it there yourself. All right, we're back. It's our wins and fails of the week, things that ruled, things that sucked. Oh, as always, we start with fails so we can end on a good note. Paul, what's your fail this week?
My Rocky Mountain low this week, well, actually, I do want to, I'm reminded now, we do this every week, but someone posted their own Rocky Mountain low to the CityCast Denver subreddit this week. And I just thought that was great. If anyone wants to go over there and hang out, it's a very cool place to be, the CityCast Denver subreddit. Share your own Rocky Mountain highs and lows. I'd love to talk to you about them. But mine this week comes to me from a Business Den article by Thomas Goonley about a motel that the city paid $9 million for back in 2023. Initially only committed to paying $7.8 million, but that was in 2021 under the Hancock administration. And then the deal took so long, the price went up. But anyway, it's right off I-70 in Peoria, and apparently it's just still empty. We bought it to put, to house people who need housing, and it's just empty. Apparently, the old owner said that it's up to code. He put in kitchenettes. It's ready for people to be living in. And the only people living on this site are in this micro community in the parking lot. And I think that's a big fail. Why aren't we using this building that we paid $9 million for?
Yeah, not to mention the neighborhood would probably boarded up anything anywhere sucks.
Yeah.
So that's a bummer.
Yeah, it would be nicer to be using it.
It's a huge bummer. I'm going to go because mine's quick, and then we'll go with you, Justine. I drove by Columbine Steakhouse today, and someone smashed the door in on the lounge side. And I was just like,
damn,
really? And we already know it's tough to be a restaurant in this city right now. Like, so I can't imagine. I just saw the poor owner standing out there going, So if you want to go have dinner at Columbine Steakhouse this weekend, maybe go do that. Pump a little extra money towards them because they're going to have to get their whole glass door fixed. And whoever did that, you're a terrible person.
Boo.
That's the home of the sugar steak, right?
No, sir, that's Bastion's.
Okay, my mistake.
No, Columbine Steakhouse
steak.
is like, it's perfect. I will just say, I don't know where else you get a filet mignon. That's what they call it for under $20, but you get Texas toast, you get a nice salad with ranch, you get a baked potato. It's perfection. It's my favorite. It's my favorite affordable Denver steakhouse. That's how I would call it.
Classic.
Love it.
Is. It's a classic. Justine, what's your fail?
My fail actually works perfect with dangerous animals because mine was mosquitoes. I got absolutely wrecked by mosquitoes last time I was out kayaking, and I saw reports that they had the first case of West Nile virus reported in Arapahoe County, which is 2 months earlier than West Nile season.
Oh, no.
So we're seeing it pop up sooner. But there are lots of bugs in Colorado. I want to remind people that can be dangerous. Mosquitoes, ticks. I found a tick on Grandpa Tony after we came back from camping.
Oh, no.
So I just want to, remind
you
people.
did that tick check, though.
Yep. Do your tick check. Wear your mosquito repellent and watch out when you're out and about in Colorado.
Especially near waterways.
Anywhere, too. Mowing your lawn. I heard that people
Really?
are getting, that there was some people who got ticks because you can get a tick in the city mowing their lawn and being out, doing your yard work. So stay safe.
Ticks would be on my list of scary animals.
Yeah, they would be on my most dangerous.
Like 'em.
I remember from Girl Scout camp, that was the thing I feared almost as much as the fictional snipe, which was a thing that would get you in the night if you went to the porta potty. That's another
fictional?
story. I'm sorry, Paul. Maybe I went snipe hunting and I
I'm
never
just
caught
kidding.
one
I'm just
with my
kidding.
pillowcase. So remains to be seen. Okay, what's our wins for the week? Justine, what's your win?
My win is that the first revitalized block of 16th Street Mall opened.
Absolutely. This is a great one.
Which is very near to where we are. So it
Yes.
made parking today so much more convenient.
Yes.
But it is nice. I know
It looks beautiful.
for all the complainers, including myself, it is nice to have a section of the mall back open and it's a piece of it. And I just remember, growing up and enjoying coming to the mall and spending so much time down here. And, I hope that they don't miss the mark on the revitalization and it becomes a place so all people of Denver and all incomes can enjoy.
Yeah.
But really exciting to have a first step to being able to have the mall back. Visitation is up at a high from the pandemic, post-pandemic. So lots of good things going on. I hope there's a whole new generation that can enjoy coming down here and enjoying the 16th Street Mall.
I was out there this morning. It does look great.
It looks
There's
beautiful.
seating out from some of those restaurants. I think it was the
Yeah.
Mellow Mushroom is on that
Yeah.
block. But that looks nice for the first time ever. I'd like to have a meal out on the 16th Street Mall.
Totally.
Yeah. Good job, 16th Street Mall, for getting one section open. Thank you. Paul, what's your win?
My win, I think, is going to be a little controversial because it goes to Westward reporter Benito Kelty, who had the courage this week to give voice to something many of us bike commuters feel but don't often say, which is that bike to work day is kind of whack. It's kind of whack. It doesn't feel good for those of us every day who are out there braving the elements to see all these once or twice a year bikers come out and just eat their free burritos. And the rest of us are just all right.
You guys really don't want anyone else to ride their bikes but you, do you?
No, I would love it for everyone to ride their bikes, but I would love also the infrastructure. I would like a year-round commitment from people. I saw Mayor Johnston riding his bike. He posted an Instagram video, And he was like, oh man, biking's so great. Here I am driving past the new Populous Hotel. Even as he is on his bike, he is using the word drive. He's got windshield brain so bad.
Windshield brain.
I would love
those sick, nasty car lovers.
No, I mean, I've nothing wrong with driving your car. That's fine. But people who ride bikes are getting killed all the time. Pedestrians are getting killed all the time. We need some real dedicated support, not just once a year free burritos that people who don't even do this go and eat.
No, I agree. It's like amateur hour to a bike to work day. And, it's like needs to be more of a push year round, definitely. And then people will be out there more, know the etiquette and how to ride and do all of these things. So, yeah, it is pretty lame. I agree.
Anything else, Bree? Anything else you want to say about that?
No, I have nothing to say about that.
Then what's your win?
Gosh, I had two, but I don't know if I should go with my husband's pollinator garden or. So we did the garden in a box
From Denver Water.
And you can get these sort of curated boxes of plants that are low water and usually native, and you can get these different themed ones, and one of them is a pollinator garden. And my husband planted one 2 years ago, and then another one I think 3 years ago, and they're really coming in. And I saw 4 different kinds of bees in my yard the other day. I didn't even know there were 4 different kinds of bees. It's incredible.
Hell
yes.
Yeah.
They're really, the pollinator thing it's happening, and our yard looks gorgeous. And I was just like, oh, they weren't lying. The pollinators really do come when you plant these plants. So.
I love that. Save the bees. Someone has a beehive in my neighborhood I saw, and I was
so
like,
cool.
Bless you.
There's
Save
so
the
much
bees.
work, but they're so cool.
Yeah.
I wish that we had the time and energy for a beehive. I don't, but they're amazing.
Yeah, same. I've always dreamed of it. I used to work with someone who was like a big bee enthusiast, and she one time brought in some fresh honeycomb for me. It was like the best day. I just ate it straight.
It's one of those things where you're like, oh, when nature makes something, it's actually really a lot better than when we artificially make something, which is honey is artificial almost everywhere. But when you get it fresh like that, it's incredible. So yeah, shout out to the Garden in a Box folks. And also the plants that they pick are beautiful. We've got purples and pinks and reds and oranges and bright greens, and it looks amazing. And also just shout out to my husband, Greg, because he does all that work. And I just stand on the porch and watch him and drink coffee while he takes care of the entire yard.
Shout out to Greg, the nicest man in Denver.
He is the nicest
He is really
man.
the nicest man in Denver.
Truly the nicest man in Denver. I don't know how he married me, one of the meanest people in Denver, but you got to balance each other out. So, Justine, did you go? I forgot. Where are we? I don't even remember.
I went.
Okay.
I think we're here at the end of the show.
I was going to say, did I go where?
No, sorry. I just forgot. I was like,
this happens to me too. At the end of the show, I'm always like, what is this? Where am I?
Okay. Well,
is this done? Are we?
Did we do it?
We're done. Thank you, Justine. Thank you, Paul. This was great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bree. See you next time.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Paul Karolyi, Olivia Jewell Love, Selena C.A. Reynolds, and Natalie Rivera. Peyton Garcia writes our morning newsletter, Hey Denver, and I'm Bree Davies, your host. Our music is by Los Mocochetes with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, follow us on Instagram at CityCast Denver, and tell a possum about us next time you see one. You can sign up for our daily newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next week. I know what you're doing. Get up. Get out of bed.
That's how I know my late night friends, because they're also scrolling. So if I'm having a crisis at 2 a.m., I know it's cutting up. I'm like, I know you're awake.
I'm going to ask you some questions.